Hello, welcome to a new vlog that I'm pretty excited about. I have been, as you know, doing VHS to DVD transfers so I can digitize all this stuff that I have, hundreds and hundreds of VHSs. The upside of all that monotonous work is that I've been finding amazing things and I found this. So, as you know, I did that tribute to Chuck Bard, my dear friend. Chuck and Shirley Bard were two of the sweetest people that ever set foot on this planet, and I feel very lucky to have had them in my life. I love them so much. They really were like family. They were as much family as my own. And they gave me so much, so many gifts. And they gave me one more, even after their passing. I found this VHS that they had taken of my TV show that I did called Trail Mix, which I never had a copy of. And here I found it. Now, it doesn't have the best sound. It's, these tapes, they just start to disintegrate over time. So there's, it's grainy and there's a buzzy kind of quality going on underneath the sound. You just have to sort of overlook that. But because of them, I actually have it. And I know many of you have never seen it. Some of you may be wondering, how did it happen that I ended up doing Trail Mix? Well, I became friends with a woman named Maureen Smith. She contacted my agent and we set up a meeting. And she at that time was running Animal Planet. And she wanted to have more horse content on there. And she asked me if I would, come up with an idea for a television show. Which I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. But I kept thinking about it. And then I came up with the idea of interviewing other singers like myself who are also horse people. She liked the idea, and what it came to be. We shot this in high def. It was just an incredible time period, traveling all over, meeting these amazing people, and getting to ride their horses and talk to them about their lives with horses. And what I found in the process is that talking about their horses actually opened these people up in a way that maybe other interviews they've had in the past didn't, because they weren't talking about their careers. They were talking about the horses. And I think you see a slightly different side of them, which I think is really interesting. Okay, let's dive in. I will be popping in and out to give a little color commentary and add some things. So I'll see you in a bit. Here you go, folks. This is Trail Mix.
I'm Eder. Welcome to Trail Mix. I'm a singer with a passion for horses, and as you're about to find out, I'm not the only one. I'll be visiting with country singer Leanne Rimes, Irish tenor Ronan Tynan, pop artist Rob Thomas, Joe Perry of Aerosmith and his family, singers-songwriters Mary Chapin Carpenter and Sheryl Crow. All reveal personal stories about the inspiration they draw from their horses, including me. Growing up in northern Minnesota, animals were the focus of my life, and my first horse, Goldie, was every 11-year-old girl's dream. At least this 11-year-old.
All right, I'm back already, because that was an error. I was actually 9 when I got Goldie.
I never outgrew my love of horses, and the peace I felt when I was around them. Even dressage, English-style riding that is so formal, disciplined and precise, is relaxing for me.
Sorry, I promise I won't interrupt this much, but I watched that clip and I laughed because that little canter around was anything but disciplined and precise.
My relationship with my horses and the escape they provide is so vital to me as a working mom, balancing precious and important time with my young son with the stress of traveling, recording, and performing. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Morning. Is it morning?
Here we go. All right, Linda, we have the song up. I'm just going to run through it just to get a mix-up. It'll be just a second.
Okay.
Here we go.
What did you find, and what did it come? Like a song is her best friend. live performances are incredibly exhilarating, but can be really stressful for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Linda Eder.
Like candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Don't tell me not to fly, I've simply got to. Spending quiet time with my horses is something I need, and it makes it easier to cope with the chaos of my schedule. I always knew my feelings weren't unique, so I looked forward to learning how some of the top music names in the business are calmed and inspired by the horses they love. This is not a movie set. This is the real deal. I've changed my boots and dusted off my Stetsons because we are here at the Texas ranch of top cutting horse trainer Punk Carter to meet a singer who's also the real deal. Leanne Rimes not only talks the talk, she walks the walk. She's a real country girl at heart. She won her first talent contest when she was 5, and the little girl with the big voice learned to ride about the same time that she learned to sing.
I grew up around horses, and my dad always rode in the rodeo, and I guess I was on my first horse by the time I was 2, and then I really started getting into it when I met Punk and really started to get into cutting.
Were you always horse crazy?
Always, yeah, pretty much. I mean, when you grow up around them, I didn't know any different, you know? I just knew horses and dogs and every kind of animal you could possibly imagine, and I loved them.
So why cutting horses?
There's something very powerful about a cutting horse, and it's so amazing because it's really the horse doing all the work. You know, they're so well trained, and they're just such amazing, amazing animals, and just really kind of peaceful to be able to just go out and ride on, you know, open land, and there's nothing better than the wind blowing in your hair riding. It's so amazing. So. And like I said, they're so powerful, and it's just for them to be trained so well to do such an amazing sport. And you just have to know how to ride. You sit on there and ride.
Well, not quite. You have to
well, I know. You have to do a little bit more than that, but it really is mostly their work.
You can mess them up, though.
Yeah, you can. You can definitely do that.
I think you're going to give us a demonstration of cutting, aren't you?
I think so. I haven't done.
Nervous?
It doesn't make me nervous because I haven't done it in a while, and I'm like, okay, here we
You don't
go.
get nervous on stage again.
No, but it's, you know, because I'm in control on stage, and you're supposed to be in control when you're cutting. But are you going to try it with me?
I think I will try it.
Okay. Here goes nothing. Or something.
Leanne's a natural, a great rider.
Great.
Cutting cattle started in the Old West, and a cowboy's need to separate calves from the herd at branding time. It's the horse's job to separate the calf and not let it rejoin the others.
Good job.
Thank you. That's fun.
You ready, Linda? You can do it. I know you got it. I can see the look in your eye. There you go. Now get him up there. Just pick him up there. Pick him up there. You're the driver.
I was nervous, but excited to start my lesson.
Now kick. That's it. Don't lean in. It's always, now kick. Keep your body straight. Now kick hard. Now kick. Good girl. Good. Now kick. That's it. Good. Look at the intent. Right there. Good job. Great job. Good job, girl.
What do you think?
Real good job.
A good cutting horse will go to its knees to try to keep
Absolutely.
that cow.
You have to know how to stay on. Absolutely.
You learn to stay relaxed and calm and just go with the flow.
You do, and it really is about just being as relaxed as you can, so you can kind of move your body with the horse.
Right.
But it's something that is definitely learned. I mean, it's not something you get into and just know how to do it. But I don't know. It's something that I've fallen in love with, and like I said, I wish I could do it more and more.
Well,
I don't get the chance as much as I'd like to.
Your career gets in the way, but it's okay.
It does.
It's finding that balance that's hard.
It is finding that balance, and you know, realizing I think is my dad and I. That was such a great way for us to bond because he was so into horses, and I think that's why I fell in love with him so much. And he still owns a lot of horses out in Nashville, and when I do see him, that's what we usually do, is get together and take a ride. Yeah, my dad rode in the rodeo for many years, and when I was born, I think from the moment I was born, he put me on a horse, and I remember I was so tiny, and that my dad tells the story, as I said, make him go faster, and he started getting him to like a little bit of a trot, and I just went right through his ears, and I was screaming and crying, and he put me right back on, and I'm so glad he did, because if he wouldn't, I'm sure I would have had a phobia of horses for forever. And my mom came running out going, "What are you doing?" But yeah,
She wasn't nervous for you? She let you go?
Oh, she was totally freaked out when I fell through his ears, but she knew he was right. I'm glad he put me back on, and I've just always, from that moment on, I was in love with him.
We met Leanne when she was 8 or 9, I forget, you know, and we became friends with her family, and, you know, her dad would come out and bring her out, and she'd ride on the weekends. And later on, she started cutting a little bit. She hadn't cut a whole lot, but she rides really, really well.
Yeah, she's very relaxed
Yeah,
and natural.
yeah. And she, you know, she's always just, "Punk, I'm worried about this, worried about that." And she's so, you know,
She's
she don't have
competitive.
to. I know.
She wants to do it well.
I love that part of it.
Yeah. A good cutting horse is a fighter. I think you're a fighter.
I think so. I think I got that from my dad more so than I think anyone in my life. And it was just, you know, my dad was one of those men that was really, he was a great heart, but he was really tough, and he always looked at me, and when I was crying, "Why are you crying? Suck it up," you know. And that's really taught me a lot in being in the business that I've in, and the kind of life I've had to lead, is to suck it up and move on and learn from it. I think that's the most important thing. You can learn from your mistakes and come out on the other side. It's, you know, the best thing. So you become really, really strong and resilient. I mean, I think that's what also, I think that's what horses teach me too. It's like you see them fall and they get right back up and start again.
They don't feel
They're
sorry for
fearless.
themselves.
No, they're fearless.
I want to know how horses have affected you in your career. Have they taught you anything about yourself? Because they're very humbling.
Well, they are humbling, and I'm a control freak, so I think the relinquishing the control and like handing it over and to them is really, you know, I mean, you do have somewhat of, I think you have to have control over the horse, but in another way you have to be able to trust them enough to give it up, especially when you cut, you know, you just have to be able to lay your hand out and let them do the work.
Right.
And that's taught me a lot, to be able to trust an animal. And sometimes it's really been tough in my business to trust humans, so it's like to be able to have something that I can fall in love with and that I can understand and understands me, and you have that relationship. I think that's a really amazing thing.
You and your father had, you're obviously very close to him. You did go through a rough period.
Yeah.
Did the horses bring you back together?
Yeah, they did, actually. That was kind of when we finally started really speaking again and having a really great relationship. That's what we do still now. It's like a go out and we saddle up and ride. And it's kind of a place where we can talk about, we have a lot of other things to talk about besides music, and, you know, and because my dad, and, you know, he worked with me for so long, and that was really all it became about, was music and business. And now as my dad, it's like we're connecting on a different level, and horses allow that to happen.
Have you ever sung to a horse?
Have I ever sung to a horse?
Yes, I've ridden a few that I probably shouldn't have been on. They're a little wild, and I would sing to them kind of softly. Or
Calm them down?
Yeah,
No.
sure.
They're probably like babies, like, you know, it just kind of keeps that, I don't know, rocks them to sleep or something.
Maybe it calms
them
me
down. And maybe that's what it is.
And they felt it.
Exactly, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess I've sung on the back of a horse before. Not necessarily to them, but who knows? Maybe I'll try that next time.
Well, if you're ever in a moment where you think, I think I'm going to be bucked off.
And just start singing.
Your career, your fan base spans all age ranges, but you have a large following of young teenage girls wanting to be singers, I'm sure. What do you think it is about horses? The majority of people who ride horses tend to be girls.
Maybe because it's more comfortable for us. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's, for me, I think we talked about this, it was the men in my life that got me into it. And I don't think maybe I would have, I don't know if I would have really gone out and seeked horses myself as a little girl. So it was my daddy for me. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's all these fathers wanting to get their little girls into riding horses.
You have control of your career and your life now, but you've also been married now, happily married for the last 3 years, and you're collaborating with Dean. Does that feel great? Does it feel really good to have a partner? It must.
It is. It's great because we're each other's sounding board through everything, and it's really nice to be able to have someone that's on the road with me most of the time that is looking out for me, you know, even sometimes when I don't look out for me. So
With no agenda.
Yeah, he's amazing, and we write together a lot.
Yeah, you wrote a song for your new album.
Yeah, we've written songs together. We have written children's books together.
Very successful.
Yeah.
I have read that book.
Thank you.
Jag. The first one is Jag.
Yep, Jag's New Friend is the second one. We're working on a third one right now. And we're also working on an animated series with that, too. So it's been amazing. We really enjoy working together. And it's great because we're very honest. I mean, you know, and we have to realize you can't get mad at the other one for just being honest. Just, you know, you're just trying to help. So, and it's good. We work really well.
You seem to be very into children.
I love kids. I know what the next question's going to be. Yeah, we do. We love kids, so eventually, as soon as we can. My schedule is so crazy, and I know God's not going to let me, and he's not going to allow me to plan it, really, but I'll try to do as much as I can.
Well, this place, horses, obviously, is a huge part of who you are, and I know how busy you are. We've talked about that, but I would wish you more time to get on your horse and ride.
Yes, I'm going to,
it is
absolutely.
so wonderfully stress-relieving.
Well, it's nice to be able to come out here and do something like this. I think this really, you know, opened my eyes to really how passionate I am about this and how I need to get back into it, because I really do love it.
Hooking a horse trailer up to your bus?
Who knows? Maybe in the next couple of years. Yeah, definitely.
A nursery and a horse trailer?
A nursery and a horse trailer, all in one.
Yeah. Great. Well, let's ride some more.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, you won.
Leanne Rimes was lovely. I mean, really lovely. She was so young during that time, and you know, she'd gone through that whole thing where, you know, her father was representing her when she was younger, and there's that weird dynamic all the time. If a parent is you know, the manager or the agent, you know, it's that whole "sing out, Louise" stigma, you know. It's not good. I don't think it's good, and I know that there was a time when she and her father were not getting along well, and the horses actually helped bring them back together, and this particular interview kind of spurred that, because I don't think she'd been riding much up to that point. Anyway, she was really, really lovely, and such a pretty girl, much prettier in person even than you see on film. And the other funny memory is that Punk Carter, the cutting horse trainer, the thing I remember so vividly. I mean, I thought I was pretty thin back then. And I remember I had ridden the horse, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job. In fact, I tried so hard that I was hanging onto that saddle horn so tightly that I got the worst blister on my hand. I was just bound and determined I was going to do a good job, which I did. And at the end, he said, you know, as you saw, he said, "Good job." But what he also said to me was, "You ride pretty good for a fat girl." Never forget that.
One of the things that I've loved about filming Trail Mix is all the wonderful people that I've met. Today, I'd like to introduce you to one of my friends, Ronan Tynan. His life story is the stuff movies are made of. This robust Irishman was born with a rare disorder that led to the loss of both of his lower legs. Yet, after a successful career as a physician, he won a national talent search in Ireland and became one of the world-renowned Irish tenors. Most remarkably, he grew up a gold medal winning athlete. This double amputee defied all the odds, and as a champion equestrian, he found 4 perfect legs instead of 2.
My first pony was a white pony, and my father was determined that this pony would help me to walk. No matter how hard I pushed him, he never went from anything other than a walk, until one day I found a secret, a plastic bag, and I picked it up, and he suddenly perked up, And I said, I got you, I got you. And I shook it like mad, and he tore off from one corner to the other. And that was my first pony.
Yeah, I remember that moment from your book when you talked about when you first broke into a gallop. That thing
That's right.
As we all dream about, sitting on a horse when it's galloping is a feeling that you can't describe.
Well, I suppose, Linda, for me it was even more of a feeling because I wasn't able to run.
Exactly.
And suddenly I had somebody who had 4 feet galloping.
Yes.
And the speed, the thrill, the exhilaration of the wind, it was like a rush of adrenaline. It was like, all your dreams of speed and coming in one blast. That's your euphoria, you go crazy. Horses were an extension of my limbs. They gave me something much more than rehabilitation. They gave me a positivity about myself. They gave me speed. They gave me the desire to do great things.
There is an extreme beauty to horses. That's why people have painted them for a zillion years and continue to paint and draw them. But it's more than just art. It's music. I mean, it's breath and it's air and it's harmony with an animal.
Yeah.
How do you think horses have influenced your music?
Well, I tell you what, I think a little like yourself, Linda, I think they've taught me a bit how to breathe. Because it's particularly in your job. In your job as dressage, you're all about control and holding. I think it has also given us the freedom to let our voices flow a little. I think you've worked that so really, really well. When you sing, it's just open the mouth. It's just beautiful. I don't know if you ever seen how people react to you. God, they just... And then, of course, I mean...
Now you're making me embarrassed.
Not at all. Why would I make you embarrassed? I mean...
Well, I feel like you're describing yourself as well.
Oh, geez. Come here, girl. Look, hold on a second. There is some difference between you and me. Hold on.
I'm talking about your music.
Oh, well, yeah, well, you know what? The two of us love 2 things. We love horses, and we love to sing, and we love to entertain.
So if we sing on horses, we'll be doing...
We would, but you know what I think horses do for both of us? They give us solitude. And there's a point in both our lives that we need solitude. We need that harmony. And we need to be selfish for ourselves. And the great thing is, these 4-legged, beautiful creatures give us that privilege to have harmony. I think horses allow you to be who you are. So much so that when you want to be yourself on stage, you are.
But you know the saying, you throw your heart over the fence, the horse will follow. I guess that's a little bit like singing too. If you want to do it right, you can't think about the technique, you just have to do it.
Bingo.
Yes,
if you have fear, you transmit it.
Yes.
And if you're reckless, well, so be it.
Horses are something I'll do, and horses are pretty dangerous. I don't feel too inhibited there.
Well,
but
you know what? I don't think you feel that they're dangerous. Because if you felt they were dangerous, you wouldn't go near them. And you have a love for them.
But they are dangerous.
Well, they're only dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Well, that's about 85% of the population.
Well, come here to me.
You've never been afraid on the horse. I mean, there's...
Yeah, there's been times when I've been on horses that I think, I've no control there but for the grace of God. No, we're caught here because...
Look at Ron.
Attaboy! Yeah, way to go.
Wait, here's one for the outtake. This is not Paris Hilton.
Do you know what we say at home? Where there's muck, there's money. Never forget that. There's a pot of gold at the end of that dung. So you know what? If you came to my yard, we'd never get anything done. You know that?
Oh my! So Ronan.
Yeah.
I have to say, a couple times in my life, I've gotten on a horse that maybe I shouldn't have. It was maybe a little too much for me. Have you ever done that? I know you've ridden. You're crazy. You're a crazy man, and you're a great rider. I know you've ridden.
No. You know what? You said there, have I, parted with ridden horses that I shouldn't have? I suppose it's like everything. You always like the thing that seems to be way out there. The beautiful horse that think, wow, isn't that? And the horse is full of spirit. You know it.
The most beautiful ones generally are.
Full of spirit, and you're mad keen to have a go. Yeah. And suddenly you have a go. And you realize this is far too much horse. You look good now. You look good. This is a great pose for you. This would be a lovely cover for your album.
I'm not posing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you're not, you're looking real good. You're looking real correct.
Come on.
Okay. So, and we're off here. Shadow taking us stand side view. Willette coming down the stand side.
Quit flirting and concentrate on your posture.
I just off posture. Let's go for an old chance. Come on, Sweat. Come on, Willette.
Her registered name is Willette. I didn't name her. I bought her editorial.
Willette. And
Call
what's
her
this fella?
Shadow.
Shadow, that's Willette coming on the outside now, making steady movement. Shadow coming on the near side. Eder pushing on. Willette's pushing out. She's really going for it. She's off. She's going neck and neck. She's pushed out. She's off. Willow has just taken off. He's making a big start. He's really motoring. Yes, Willow is putting it out there, baby. I'm more tolerant with the horse than I am with the person. I'm more patient with a horse than I am with a person. I respect the limitations of a horse more so than I do with a person. Horses can teach you one thing. They can teach you patience. They can teach you to wait. And to also realize Rome wasn't built in a day. The foundation for a young horse is what you do when you're breaking that horse, teaching that horse the submission of the man or the woman to the horse, and working as a unit together. But you know, 9 times out of 10 with horses, if you stick with it and are willing to take the time to just get it that little bit further, one day you go out and you achieve something beyond your wildest dreams, like cantering across from one corner of the field to the other, having waited 3 months, and 3 months prior that you haven't even been able to contemplate getting up on a pony. You know what I'm saying?
Riding is definitely a discipline. You have to be physical. You have to be an athlete in order to ride well. If you sit on a horse's back and you don't try to ride well, the horse won't appreciate it very much.
When you say you have to be an athlete to ride a horse, oh, I'm in trouble.
No, you're a great athlete. You are.
Oh, used to be.
Which is an amazing story considering what fate dealt you, and you have just overcome it in such an amazing way. But now when it comes to riding, riding is very much about feel, and now you had to do something else.
Yeah, I really ride by my butt. I make sure that I sit into the horse. I ride more by rhythm than by touch. I feel the rhythm of the horse, and it's like a music. It's music. Occasionally the rhythm gets interfered by the percussion section and we blow it all apart, but that's beside the point. But I ride very much not by hand, because I think I have soft enough hands when I ride, but to change direction for a horse can be very difficult for me. I could ride the same way I had ridden for maybe 15 years, and you adapt. But the great thing about riding and the great thing about horses is they adapt to you as well. You know, once they get a feeling of where you are. Now, some horses don't, but there's one horse to suit every single person in the world. Where we are at present is actually at my home. It's called Donegal House. It's in the heart of Kilkenny, which is really a beautiful part of the world. The horses have been in this house, in this farm, since late 1800s. And progressively, 4 generations of Tynans had horses. I'm the last generation of that 4th to have horses. Many years ago, a famous coach company called Charles Bianchi used to put his horses and his coaches here. The most important thing to remember with me is my life would never have come to where it is without a horse. I think, you know, the most fundamental thing that both a horse and the owner have to have for each other is respect. A horse can teach you a lot. You know, it's amazing what you can learn from an animal. You can become a better person by being part of an animal's life, particularly a horse. Because a horse can teach you something that you can never learn. It can teach you to control your temper. It can teach you to accept the outcome. And it can also teach you how to love glory and enjoy the fulfillment of putting work into something and seeing at the end that there can be an amazing result. Every owner who is in show jumping aspires to come to 2 huge shows in the country, and one is this one, the biggest the Royal Dublin Horse Show. How is she? Is she good to turn?
Yeah.
Well, if you're in good shape, do what you know. I would come inside. Yeah, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. You'll feel. Watch 3. Watch 3.
Now, we're going to go next to number 21. This one owned by Roland Tynan from Johnstown, County Kilkenny.
The course is riding extremely well. Easy, easy, easy. Good. Well ridden, boy, well ridden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Oh, very good over there. This is the reward that we just get when we achieve the highest level in a young horse's career. Colin, well done. Tremendous job for both horse and rider. This is what it's all about. The passion, the love, the work ethic to achieve this level in this competition. 4th best horse in the 4-year-old. Tremendous achievement. It's much harder to win the trust of a horse than it is to win the trust of a human. Yet if you have the trust of a horse, you have something for life. What you and I have worked out is we can buy a dog or a horse, but we can't buy the wag of its tail. You know what I mean? Right. We have worked out that there's a spirit there that kind of transcends that animal thing and that we've formed a link with it, and that's huge.
Okay, so memories and impressions of Ronan. Funny. Just a funny guy, constantly wisecracking, telling jokes, yucking it up with the crew and with me. And a flirt. Oh my gosh, we couldn't even put on a lot of what we recorded because of, off-color jokes and, really, really flirting with me. It was pretty funny. But also massive respect for what he has accomplished in his life as a doctor, an equestrian, as a successful singer. Yeah, it's impressive.
I'm here in Middletown, New York at an amazing place called Pets Alive. It's a no-kill rescue sanctuary where many of the animals have special needs or have been rejected by other organizations. It's especially near and dear to my heart because in 1998, Pets Alive became the official retirement home of the New York City carriage horses. Carriage horses have given New York tourists a chance to see Central Park at a slow, comfortable, and relaxing pace. These large, draft-type horses spend their work lives on a hard pavement in all seasons with little to look forward to, until now. Singer-songwriter Rob Thomas and his wife Marisol have championed the right of the carriage horses to live out their days here at Pets Alive. How did you two first hear about Pets Alive and how did you get involved?
Well, I had been working with animal shelters my whole life since I was young, growing up in Queens. And when Rob and I moved out of the city and we moved up to Westchester, I knew that I wanted to spend time at a shelter and kind of help out if I could. And I was just really taken just by looking at the website. And I showed Rob and we decided to get in the car one day and just take a drive up. And when we got up here, after literally 5 minutes after meeting Sarah Whalen, we just knew we had to do something. We had to help her. We had to help the animals. She is an unbelievable woman. And I really do think that that first visit changed our lives. It really, really did, for the better. And we've been coming ever since.
One of the first things that strikes people is her commitment. I mean, she has this property here, and every ounce of space that's available is here for the animals to use. And the fact that it's a no-kill animal shelter means that I think space is of the essence. I mean, that's the main reason why we do things, is to try and, we want her to be able to buy up every acre, within miles and miles of here, just so, because you want them to have as much room as possible, because there is no changeover in a no-kill animal shelter. That's the beauty of it.
It's unbelievable. They all respond to her as if she's their mom.
She's like Dr. Doolittle.
She's incredible. I believe they speak to her.
The thing about the horses for her is just that an amazing thing, like to see all these horses giving their lives to, so that people can ride around Manhattan in these carriages. and she's the only person that they can go to live out the rest of their days, you know, happily and safely. Where it seems like a lot of people want to donate their time and their money, but she's the only one that does it, and so I think it's really relevant that people know about this place, because I think the more people speak out for it and talk to people like over at the SPCA, the more that they would divert them over here and get more horses here so they could live out their lives, you know, the way they should.
And we've met so many of them, and they really, truly live out the rest of their lives so happy. I mean, today was kind of sad coming and not seeing Thunder, who was one of my favorites, but he passed away after having a really happy life up here with Sarah. So.
I did. I met Thunder the first time I came here. Beautiful, big, white horse coming in. I mean, anybody that lives within a certain range of miles of Manhattan spends a certain amount of time there. You're going to see carriage horses. And you obviously you know several of the carriage horses here. Have you seen any change in them from the time they've been brought here initially? I mean, it must be so amazing to come here, have the shoes be pulled off and put out into a pasture.
Yeah, I can't imagine, man. They spend the first bit of time just in the corner, not realizing that they have the freedom to just go wherever they want to go. It's an awful thought that after dedicating their lives to just making tourists happy riding around the city, they get nothing. They get nothing waiting for them unless they come to places like Pets Alive.
And, you know, people don't know the time that a horse can live. A horse can live easily to be 30 years or older.
It's amazing.
And they live lives long beyond their working lives. So that's another reason why this is a wonderful place, because...
And they're so smart in their ability to interact with humans, and their ability to kind of understand emotions and understand, you know, what's going on around them is, I think it's greater than a lot of people realize, and I think a lot of people kind of underestimate a horse's ability to interact with humans. They think of it as just a domestic animal that you use for some purpose.
Yeah.
They're pets. They're good pets.
Yeah. Obviously you have things to say and you want it to be heard. Where do you get the inspiration to write?
I just take refrigerator magnets and throw them on the ground and look at them all.
Two of you, because of the music business, spend a great part of your life on the road. Does this place, Pets Alive, and Sarah, does it represent a sort of home for you?
Yeah, it has over the years now. You know?
Definitely. It's one of the first places we visit when we know we're going to have a stretch of time at home to ourselves. It's definitely one of the first things on our list to go and do, and it helps you decompress.
And you don't just look. You roll up your sleeves and you get in and you get into the mud, for lack of a better word.
I remember the pictures showed up of me on my hands and knees in the pigsty.
With your butt in the air and
my butt in the air, sharing with the pigs.
Yeah, you have a pig here. In fact, I've heard you sing to this particular
To Robert?
pig.
Yeah, Robert's a good singer. I'm just giving him some vocal lessons.
And this is not a little pig.
No, Robert's bigger than all of us combined, I think. I mean, he is a big fat pig, and I'm not being mean.
Does he appreciate your singing?
I don't know. I appreciate his. He doesn't appreciate me calling him a big fat pig.
Even though it fits.
Yeah. But a lot should be said for the people that come here and donate their time, you know, to make this thing go.
Yeah.
I mean, it exists solely because these people come and they work for free, and so, you know, that's the only way that Sarah can afford to do that.
When you don't have any funding and you are just kind of waiting and hoping for someone to, you know, have the heart to help you out, it's really rough. You know, there are years when I know that Sarah's just having trouble maintaining the heat and just maintaining the fences because another snowstorm knocked something down. So it's a constant thing, and it has to keep on going.
Yeah. A lot of the horses that have ended up here at Pets Alive have worked a long time, long, hard lives in the city. Some they've got great names. Maureen, O'Leary, Mary O'Leary, Murphy. Do you know these horses personally?
No, but don't they all sound like they were given Irish names? It must have been like some of the Irish cops in New York and going by and naming them. Hey, you will be O'Malley.
I think it doesn't cost a lot to sponsor a horse here.
No, it's like $85 a month, and it goes for the hay.
Or you could buy a blanket, one winter blanket for the horse to wear over the course of the winter. It's great. It's a great thing to donate to.
Like, our relationship with animals is kind of enhanced everything by, like for the last couple of years, my wife has not been well. She's had some problems with her immune system, and it's been like a day in, day out, just day-by-day process of trying to figure out, you know, if you're going to be okay or not. You know, like, the animals don't care about that. They just want to be loved. And so I think, like, having that ever-present love that goes on regardless of, like, whatever your circumstances are.
Besides having one of the best male pop voices around, Rob Thomas is also one of the coolest guys with a big heart. He and his wife Marisol, what a team, and what they've done for Pets Alive is worthy of all our respect. The sad thing about this segment is that Sarah Whalen passed away really not that long after we filmed this. But what a lovely lady, dedicating her life to, helping animals. And as it said in the clip, she was very fond of the carriage horses. Pets Alive has become slightly different. They don't have all the animals that they had at that time. With Sarah, she took in anything. Now it's all devoted to cats and dogs, but fortunately it was able to continue on. So if you want to know where your money for Pets Alive has been going, well, that's where it all started.
Imagine a planet where the roll of thunder can be heard even on the sunniest of days. Imagine that.
Of Joe Perry, lead guitarist for Aerosmith. Joe has electrified audiences with his lightning hot licks for more than 30 years. But outside the spotlight, this music icon is a loving family man, a gentleman farmer, and a longtime horse lover. Far from the roller coaster world of rock, Joe, his wife Billy, and their sons have found an idyllic haven in the rolling hills of Vermont. The Perry's tranquil Sleepy Hollow farm is named for Washington Irving's classic, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. In this beautiful place, Joe and Billy Perry have combined their love of nature with their love of horses. The farm is home to the smallest of all horses, as well as the elegant Friesians that have become the family's passion. The Friesians originated in Holland. They once carried knights into battle and are noted harness horses. After nearly becoming extinct, they have rebounded and are gaining popularity as riding horses.
I had to learn how to ride all over again when we bought the Friesians, because it was a whole different style of riding. And it's fun and it's challenging, and Joe's, he's brave. I mean, for someone who started riding later in life, he's really taken to it, and I think he's just a natural horseman.
Well, I just love being around him, and there've been months that have gone by we haven't been able to get on him, and when we're traveling and we come in and we have like a few days off, and we're just so tired, we don't want to just get into it, and we just love being around them, go up and visit them, and give them carrots and stuff, and they're just beautiful.
And you've chosen actually a breed that is not the easiest to sit, because they're not necessarily the smoothest horse, right? They're high action.
No, they do have a different ride. It's amazing. That loping gait is.
It's big.
But I think it's fun. It feels like so much power. Sometimes you have to use your imagination when you're dealing with horses. You have to be a little creative, but also just the basic thing about the rhythm of riding a horse and the rhythm of life, all that. It all ties together in a very visceral sense, at least for me. So that's why I think that's where the connection is. And there's always some kind of music going on in my head when I'm riding.
Right. Well, speaking of music, when you're riding, is there a song that pops in your head when you're riding?
To me, the music is the sound of nature. It's the wind blowing through the trees. It's the birds. It's the rustling of the leaves in autumn. The rocks being kicked by the feet. It's all those ambient sounds of Mother Earth. It's God's music, and that's what I listen to when I ride my horse. And and if I get into that zone and I'm feeling the rhythm that Joe was talking about, and I can feel like I'm one with my horse, then that's really being in an amazing space.
And to me, they're just so primal. I mean, when he comes right up and blows through his nostrils right on you, and it's like, they're huge animals. And, they intentionally can hurt you, and they may not, but they're still, they're not far from the plains running around on their own.
I think for us it's really good because we spend so much time talking business and doing business and living on the road and traveling on the road that it gives us a chance to do something that is not related to music at all, really. Because I think the connection is that it brings everybody down to a quiet space. So I think it would probably be similar when you're doing your art and you're singing, that you also get into that quiet space when you're with your horses. But for us, it gives us a chance to break away from the whole business aspect of our relationship and do something outside of that. And we can talk about something else besides, you know, where the tour is going to go, what the album cover is going to look like. And it's fun because we can talk about things outside of ourselves.
This horse relationship for the two of you is very personal and very private. I think it's something that you share together.
Well, it's something that, I mean, there are a lot of sports and a lot of things you can do parallel, you know, together. But this one, you kind of are together on.
Here we are in one of probably my most favorite places to be in the world, a horse barn. Who's this guy?
This guy's Franz. He's from the Netherlands. And his
So he has an
father...
accent.
Well, he does respond when we use Dutch-sounding words. It's kind of funny.
Oh, come on, Joe. You have to admit, one of the reasons you like this breed is it's got rock and roll hair.
Oh, yeah.
I need some of this hair.
The other thing about the more Baroque style horses is the way that their the fur, or their hair on their bodies is almost got almost like a wood grain to it. You know, with the way that it grows out. And I actually designed a guitar with the kind of finish, so it's a black finish, but with the wood grain in it. It almost mimics the same thing, and it kind of echoes the way that the curl in their mane and also their hide, and so I kind of nicknamed it the Freudian guitar.
Oh, that's great.
This is Tony, and this is Roman.
Well, you two are lucky growing up around horses.
Oh, yeah.
So this is not Franz, even though these horses look so similar. This is Orion. He's got the white whiskers.
And we've had Orion for 15 years, actually.
That's a long time.
Well, he's been in the family almost as long as you have, Tony. Yeah.
Tony started riding when he was about 4 and rode off and on until he was about probably 12 or 13. And,
I hear you like another kind of horsepower these days.
Yeah, like I'm into the car thing. I have a lot of horses in that.
Hello. And Roman, but you're still into the horses, right? Yeah.
And what struck us was how mellow they are, and how, which is typical of warm bloods, but the Frisians just seem really easygoing and really easy to work around. And for us, we would be able to spend a lot of time with them for a few weeks at a time, then we'd go off on the road, and we'd come back. They would still have their manners and be great horses to work around. And like we said, Tony was on them when he was 4, and so they're just the personality.
Kind of a babe magnet, don't you think?
Yeah. Our love for animals just doesn't stop with horses. I mean, we have probably just about any kind of pet you can have without needing a special permit. I mean, tarantulas to, we had a 150-gallon saltwater tank, to miniature goats, miniature horses, birds, everything, snakes, lizards, everything. We've had them all, and it's all been part of the family.
I think it's nice to have that responsibility to have to care for something besides yourself, and I think it's good for the kids.
All right. This is not a Frisian. He has the rock and roll hair, but it's not a Frisian.
Well, he's a miniature horse, and Joe and I bought him for our son, Roman, so he could have experience working around horses and be safe. Roman drives him, and
he pulls a little cart.
Yes, he pulls a little cart, and we've had a great fun with him, haven't we, Joe?
Well, a lot of people confuse him with a German Shepherd, but he's actually a miniature horse as opposed to a pony. That's probably the most often asked question. You know, what kind of pony is it? And he's really a miniature horse. They were bred down, I don't know, a couple of centuries ago for royalty to have as lawn pets. And what they've found out is that they pull carts. They can easily pull their own weight. So they ended up using them in the mines in Europe or England, and now people have them because they're great fun to drive, and they make great pets and good companions for the big horses, as opposed to sometimes people will have goats for companions for their horses, but these guys are great.
I bet he's the boss.
He actually leads the charge most of the time out in the pasture.
There you go, Charger. I think Roland's looking forward to giving you a ride later.
I'm looking forward to that. Although I feel like I could pull him. I'm going on a date. Come on. All we need is the fringe. Come on. See, I told you I'm too heavy. Come on, buddy. Walk. Come on. You're also the smartest of all breeds. That's why he's doing this. Come on. Okay, let me walk for a second. Then you... hold on. Come on, Charter. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. He does not want to walk. Nope. There you go. It's me. I told you I'm too heavy. But if he stops in the middle of the field, I don't think that's it. Well, they can piece the back end of the front end together. Boy. Well, the good thing, too, is they live a long time, much longer than big horses. Rock and roll is so much about image. And the public sort of wants to see rock and rollers in a certain way, a certain light. You are so much more than that. You're on so many levels. You enjoy things that aren't necessarily what the public might think. Are you comfortable showing your public that side of you, that domestic, down to earth?
Because it doesn't take away from the other side that too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just another facet of what we do, and you know, if people are interested
Far
in it.
from tame.
Yeah. I
know, I saw those. Believe me. He's domestic, but he's not domesticated. There's a big difference. This guy is so, believe me, he's a handful. But I don't care. I still love it.
So that interview, I think, was a perfect example of how this particular show, where they were focused on the horse, showed you a really different side. You know, here's a real rock and roller, and he was just so different than what, you know, you would have expected. Very intelligent man, very caring, very knowledgeable about the horses. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. Even though he was new to horses, he had learned a lot. Obviously, he got into it because of his beautiful wife. I love the family. I love that whole thing. I thought the sons were so kind and polite. A lot of love there, and to witness that was really cool. And what a beautiful farm! What a beautiful area. The barn was gorgeous, and the really neat thing about it is that it was connected to the house by this long hallway that they had built, so that they didn't have to go outside in the wintertime. Brilliant.
Surrounded by her horses, on a farm she's named after the ancient Greek mythology word for heaven. Welcome to Elysium. Mary Chapin, there's so many things we could talk about. First of all, I adore you. We have so much in common. This has been such a great day for me.
It's been fun.
I cannot, though, resist talking about love, because you did find, obviously, something that was lacking in your life. You found a home, and you found the love of your life. Yeah. Tim, and there's a great lyric in one of the song that you wrote, Elysium, which is about how you two fell in love, how you met. You have a line in there, it's about the voice in my head that said to steer clear of margins and borders. What does that mean exactly?
Well, what I was thinking of when I wrote that was how important it was to try to experience the fullness of life, and when times are tough, whatever you tend to withdraw, you tend to marginalize yourself, and so I was trying to not fall into that behavior and to be open to everything that was coming my way. That's what I meant by that.
It took you, though, really the first half of your life to decide to have a home and be at home.
Right. I think anybody who travels a lot for their profession has to figure out a way to it's not just when you're home that you need to have a life. You need to have a life kind of throughout everything, and it's hard sometimes to not just compartmentalize everything.
Right.
And it's a challenge, but you know, it's something to strive for. You know.
Is that why you think it took you so long to really decide to have a home? I mean,
yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. I really do need somebody to help me figure that one out. I don't know what that's about, but you know.
You look around and go like, I did it. I really accomplished what I wanted to do.
I look around and I go, how'd that happen? That's pretty amazing. Pretty cool.
Oh.
This is Sterling.
This is Sterling.
Yeah.
Sterling has one blue eye.
One blue eye. And this is India, his sister, so to speak, same fathers. And they've been together since they were born, so they're just lovies. And here's Levi. He's our baby. Hey, buddy.
Come on.
Hey, little man.
You know, a lot of people who have horses, even if they don't at the time anymore, so many talk about quarter horses.
Yeah.
So fondly, because they truly are an amazing breed. They're incredible for their brains and their beauty. And they do it all. Roping, reining, racing, and cutting. They're just amazingly versatile, and they're such an American horse.
Yes, isn't that true? They really are, and they're so beautiful, and as you say, they're so smart. Really, really smart.
Level-headed.
Yep.
And you have so many colors, from gray to sorrel to palomino. It's great. I have to tell you, I will admit that as a teenager, I read a lot of those Harlequin romance novels. And your life, to me, reads a little bit like a Harlequin romance.
Oh, my God, you're kidding.
Yes, because you had you know, you're the top of the business in show business, and you know, people know enough from reading People magazine and Us magazine, all the papers and television, what that's a little bit like.
Yeah.
But you then, at a point in your life, met the true love of your life. Something that really had never happened to you before, and I'm sure you've met a lot of showbiz types, dashing people who talk the big game.
The truth is that I didn't really feel like I'd met a lot of people, in the sense that, you know, when you travel a lot, you're not really in one place for a very long time, so in a way, you don't really, I just found for myself I wasn't, like, always meeting people. So, you know, it certainly...
They just weren't on your radar. They weren't ringing the bell quite the right way, but then along comes this cowboy.
Yeah, yeah.
And he really is a horseman.
He is. He grew up with horses,
Yes.
and he worked on horse farms for a long time after high school, and so he knew what he was doing.
Tim, you are the true version of the quiet man.
Kind of say so.
You know the movie The Quiet Man?
Yeah, very well. John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara.
Well, you remind me a little bit of him.
Well, that's a compliment.
Yes, and I've been watching you around here, and you're so good with the horses, and that's a good thing. A man that's good with horses has got to be good with the women.
What can I say to that?
I mean, you grew up...
They're very similar.
Oh, really? Now, you've always loved horses, but you really haven't been into them until you met him. And
exactly.
Did you have to talk her into it?
No, it sort of evolved naturally. We had found this beautiful honeymoon spot in Colorado, and it was a dude ranch, so we knew we had to brush up a little bit so we weren't total greenhorns when we went out there. So we got a couple horses before we got married and rode for several months and took some lessons and just evolved from there.
Now, is he a good, does he try to coach? Is he a good instructor?
No, he knows what he's talking about, and he really helps me a lot.
Is he patient? Get those heels down.
You know what? I think anybody who lives with me is a patient person. Whether we're riding or just kind of living.
Are you high maintenance, low maintenance?
I don't
what
think
would he say?
Well, I don't know.
The dating game. She's perfect in every way.
Have you gotten spurs yet?
You got some bland spurs. I've got to work my way up to real cowboy gear because I'm just a wannabe cowboy right now.
Although sometimes, like, I'll come in and he's reading something. It's like at night, and I'll walk in and he'll throw it under the covers really fast, and I'll go, "What are you reading?" And he goes, "Nothing." And I'll say, "What are you reading?" And he goes, "Nothing." I go, "What are you reading?" And I'll pull it out, and it's horse gear. It's what I call gear porn. You know? And it's like he reads horse, you know, equipment gear magazines for pleasure.
You have 8 horses and 4 dogs and
5 cats.
5 cats. And they're all aside from the 2 dogs that you have, the cats and the other dogs are all rescue, right?
Yes.
I think that's great.
Right. I just love the animals, and I think I'd be happy if I could just rescue every animal on this earth.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrible not to be able to do it for everyone.
Yeah.
You know,
I was the first human she had rescued, so she had done lots of animals, but she decided to experiment with the human, and she went to the shelter and found me.
Well, and the rescued ones are always so grateful.
Well,
They
I'm very grateful. Totally grateful.
Yeah, but look what you gave her.
Yeah.
You know, look what you introduced her
We
to.
like to think we gave it to each other. So.
Well,
We showed her a spot, though, that she finally said I could live there.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously, because you live here, that was a big draw.
This was a lucky find to find this place.
Yeah.
A change of scene which should be great. The thought is nice to contemplate, but the question begs, why would you wait and be late for your life?
We feel very lucky, just fortunate. Every day we wake up and we say, look where we get to live. And it's kind of our mantra.
Yeah.
Right, girl? Yeah. Yeah. There's a peacefulness and a serenity about being here that I never obviously understood or appreciated when I was living somewhere else where the quiet, it was almost like if it was too quiet, then something was wrong, when you're in a city.
This horse looks like, it's so beautiful. It looks like one of those Breyer horse statues I used to play with.
She's a beautiful girl. This is Legacy. And she's a beautiful golden dappled palomino. And
look at that face.
I think she's looking in the camera, maybe. I don't know.
You're a movie star.
She's a beautiful girl.
Did you choose that horse because she's blonde?
I think she chose me.
Oh. You know, when I'm out riding on a trail, I have to say I'm probably the happiest that I could be.
Yep.
I'm always in a good mood. Mm-hmm. And because of that, sometimes I will just spontaneously burst into song.
Is that right?
Yeah, do you ever do that?
Well, yeah, I've done it. I like to sing all different kinds of things, so it's different depending on the day.
Well, my song is usually the same, unless it's raining.
What
if
is
it's not raining, I sing this one, and you're going to know it, so sing it with me.
Okay.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day. Hey, give me 5. That was fun.
That was great.
They looked like they liked it.
Yeah, they liked the music.
As you can probably tell, I really loved Mary Chapin Carpenter. We just had so much in common right from the get-go. Her beautiful farm Elysium was just heavenly, really beautiful horses. She has so many dogs that she's rescued. Just a kind, wonderful, homey person. I just adored her. And it was so much fun to sing with her. That was a sort of a spontaneous thing that we did, and spontaneous harmony, and I thought we sounded really good together. Yeah, I really like Mary.
Flo has loved horses since she was a kid, but it wasn't until a little over a year ago that she made the leap and bought her first horse. Now she has 4, and every day she's finding out more and more how horses enrich our lives. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Freezing.
Yes, it's cold, but they're worth it. You're new to horses.
I'm sort of new, yeah. I rode as a kid, never had my own horse, but was like every other kid who wanted Santa to bring her a horse, around 4th grade on. So when I got to a place where I felt like I could be home and could really dedicate some time and love and real attention to it, I got hooked up with this amazing couple who run a place called Red Horse Ranch. And actually, Sue, the woman that runs it, and Alan, both have been teaching me a lot about horses. They've really been wonderful in helping me learn about horses and how mystical they are and what great companions they are. It's really the most wonderful relationship, and particularly with these guys who are Arabians. I bought these horses after learning about them, actually just being around them here out at the ranch, for my future stepkids, and they're great, not only beautiful but very social horses. They like obviously having a relationship with a human. These guys definitely have their own personality. I mean, you know, because you have horses. But, you know, you just hang out with them long enough and you really start to feel like they have such human qualities. And they're great with kids.
Does Lance ride? Is this going to be a family thing?
It's going to be a family thing. The girls, he's got 2 twin girls who are just horse obsessed. Everything is Spirit and everything is Shady Lady. And now it's Jalila, even though that's a very hard name for a 4-year-old to remember. But
Lila.
yeah, they're really, really into it. And Lance is a little more fearful, which obviously, as you know, even horses you know well can spook and can be kind of scary.
Have you hit the dirt yet? Because that's part of riding.
I have not. I haven't hit the dirt yet. I remember the first time I took a spill on my bike after I learned to ride a proper road bike, and I did it in front of many people, and Lance was so excited about it. He's like, "You've done it! You've gotten your first crash over with." So I know it's coming. Yeah. I'm braced.
And sometimes they're not even wanting to throw you off. They're just doing something or having fun, and they'll look at you after you're on the ground and they're like, "What are you doing down there?" Well, let me know when you fall off. Give me a call.
I will definitely. It'll be all over the internet, I'm sure. So it's funny because in thinking about my introduction to horses in this part of my life, I rode an incredible horse in the First Cut Is the Deepest video. And that was actually what really got my appetite wet. And riding this great big paint horse across the Nevada desert to the song First Cut Is the Deepest, and just the whole feel of that really made me think, okay, this is something I really want to do.
You know, I've met a lot of celebrities in my life, and a lot of very famous people, from presidents to whomever. But the one person I was most nervous to meet in this series was actually Sheryl Crow. I'm not really sure why, but she turned out to be absolutely lovely. And the horses, again, were that bridge, you know, that we could, even though we had music in common, obviously, but it was just, the horses made it easy. Again, she was fairly new to horses, but totally loving it, loving what they had brought to her life, which, of course, I can relate to. Anyway, it was cool meeting her.
You have 2 breeds. You have these 2 horses. You have 2 more.
Right.
You have 2 Arabians, and you have 2 Tennessee walking horses.
Yeah.
You have one of the oldest original breeds, and you have a relatively new breed, the Tennessee walking horse.
Well, I started out, when I decided that I was going to fully commit to getting horses, a friend of mine, I was kind of picking his brain about what kind of horse I should get. He recommended that, depending on what you want, if you want horses that anybody can ride, get a gaited horse. And so I started looking for Tennessee walkers, and I got really lucky. I bought a horse named Lady, who you'll meet later, and she's a 3-year-old walker, and she's a pinto, and ultimately wound up needing a place to board her. And when I came out here, I saw how beautiful and healthy the horses were, and got turned on to what Sue and Alan do with horses, which is trick train them. And it's a really cool thing because not only does it establish a relationship with you and your horse, you know, it allows them to have free expression. It develops a really generous nature with them and a real willing obedience. And as far as your training goes, as far as a trail riding horse, it's just a great exchange that you have. And they're also very disciplined, and they love pleasing you, which is very inspiring.
Well, you mentioned the word gaited, and for those who don't know what that means, horses have generally 3 gaits, the walk, trot, and canter, but there are a few breeds, like the Tennessee Walker, the Saddlebred, the Morgan, who have a gait, which is sort of, if you took, you know, that movie thing where you see the man and 2 men in a horse costume, it's the equivalent almost of that in a way, because it's 2 running. The 2 are running in front and the hind legs are running in the back. It's not a canter where there's a moment where they're off the ground. And so they're very smooth. Have you enjoyed that?
Well, I'm not a real seasoned rider, and
but
so
a great athlete.
I'm a good athlete, but I also have a good sense of rhythm, obviously, as most people better have. You get a sense of their own innate rhythm, and when you ask her to walk out, it's definitely a joyful experience, and it's very smooth. The transition's very smooth, and it is very hypnotic. You know, it's when you're connected with your horse and they're doing what comes naturally to them, and they feel good about the relationship with who's riding on their back, then it's really a great union, and not only just as a musician, but just as a person who enjoys that connection. It's like being a musical performer, and that you go out on stage and you play music and you hope that what you're going to get back is
is reciprocal. And it's the same with a horse. You know, they want that relationship with you just like you want that relationship with them, that sort of, that union, that bond.
Have you found that riding horses has changed your riding style at all?
I think one of the nice things about having a horse that you can count on, obviously, is being able to get out on a horse in the country and just having just the sound of the hoofs, just the feel of the rhythm, and nature around you. And that's a really great place to start from as far as inspiration for the beginning of a song or a thought or a melody or a line for a poem. And it all starts there with the release of getting out of your own way and just being in a beautiful setting and having that incredible rhythm to sort of set the pace. When you're riding, I mean, it's the idea of the endorphins. It's the letting go. It's the release. Hi, Jalila. You little camera hog. And one of the things I've learned in the last, I don't know, 5-7 years is just taking control of my life again and just being quiet and spending time in nature. And I think, you know, I'm a newcomer to horse riding, but I think that this is going to be a really nice diversion.
You're happy. It really shows.
And I'm happy.
You have that happy glow.
Yeah, I'm happy, and you know, it's an interesting time to be an artist. It's a great time, and I think, you know, it's also a very luxurious thing to be able to have an escape, like coming out here, and I find it's very, for me, it brings a lot of levity to my life to come out and be around animals. And I had a long relationship with my dog Scout, who was always with me, always on the road, and he passed away actually around the time I got Lady. And I just find that having animals around, and I think even scientists have proven that it brings your blood pressure down. It really does bring some levity to chaos. And just knowing that when I get on Lady that she's very dependable and that I have a relationship with her. And I think the trick training has been really helpful in that, and just her disciplining her mind and her feeling safe about who's on her back and so on and so forth.
All right, lady, walk out. Come on. All the way around, come on. Here we go, here we go. Around. Easy, easy, easy. Lady, ready, ready. Oh. No, around. Easy, easy. And step up. Oh, almost, almost. Salute.
Oh.
Salute.
I think you got a lead on
Good
it.
girl.
Salute. Good girl. Step back up.
Step back. Okay, good girl. Step back. See, I'm sort of new at it too, obviously. We'll try our big number for you. She really learns how to interact and how to be disciplined. Easy. Oh, there. That was my fault. Let's try it again.
She likes it.
That was a good try. That was good, lady. Okay, here we go. Okay. And lady, ready, ready, and up. Woo! There you go. Well, almost as big. Almost as big.
That's great. You're gonna make me go home and my horse will be like, "What are you trying to do with us now?"
And she's, you know, she obviously loves getting the treats, but she loves getting petted as much.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they love knowing that they're doing something, something right. All right, step back. I'll show you our one last trick. All right, easy, easy. And ho, ho, ho. Oh, let's come around again.
And this is all positive reinforcement training. There's no whips involved, no nothing.
No, no, no. All the way around. Let's do it again. And ho, easy, easy. Now, don't second guess me. Come here. All the way around. And slow, whoa, whoa. All right, ready? And down. All the way over. All the way over. There we go. There we go.
That is great.
Just get up. Get up. All the way up. All the way up. Good girl.
Good girl. Oh. Good girl. Okay, good girl. That's a good girl. Oh, that's great. Okay, here we go. Up you go. Good girl. So there you have it.
Oh, I'm really impressed. Really impressed. That's great.
Well, she's good, and you know, it's like I'm learning here. Like a musician learns its craft, and how you feel so pleased with yourself when you get these. You know, because you're a singer. Horses the same way. They're excited when they're learning something new, and they know they're doing something right.
Well, I love too. It's like the fans are so blown away by what you can do and play and write and sing and hear, but you get the biggest rush out of it, you know, horse lay down, right?
Yeah, you know, this is really, I hate to say it's giving my love for music a run for its money, but it is, you know.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Helps keep you sane.
Yeah, absolutely. Horses enrich our lives and provide an escape from the hectic life in the spotlight. We may come from different backgrounds and have dramatically different styles of music, but what I've learned is that our passion for horses and the inspiration they provide is our common bond. I'm Linda Eder. Thank you for joining us for Trail Mix.
Out of the spotlight, out of the race, got no commitments and nothing but dreams to chase. Out where the sky is blue, out where the world makes sense to you, out where as far as you can see, nothing is planned, just the reins in your hand and a heart full of nothing but free as the best things in life are free as a horse running like the wind to take you home again. Out where the sky is blue, out where the world makes sense to you, oh, well, as far as you can see, nothing is planned, just the reins in your hand and a heart full of nothing but free.
Well, there you have it. That was Trail Mix. I wish we could have done a Trail Mix too, but Maureen moved on from Animal Planet, so that never happened. But it was an experience I will never forget, and I'm also so grateful for the footage, you know, the footage at my farm with horses that are no longer here anymore. Thank you, Maureen. Maureen Smith, my dear friend. This would not have happened without you and your love of horses. Thank you. While I did not have an actual tape of Trail Mix, the show itself, I do have some outtakes, and I thought maybe you might like to see those. That's always my favorite part anyway.
Today, I'd like to introduce you to one of my friends, Ronan Tynan. His life story is the stuff movies are made of. This... Look at that. Willow, you're not cooperating. Today, I'd like to introduce... Sorry! She was so perfect. Now she's getting piggy. Cheryl Crow has been a horse lover since she was a kid, but it wasn't until a little over...
I got to see the horse.
Gotcha.
It's all about horses.
There you go. Sorry. Horses enrich our lives.
One more and we're done.
Yeah, you hear that?
I like the 3/4.
Love you too, man.
Oh,
Again, really? Okay.
all right.
I have a bug in my, a gnat in my eyelash, but...
Let me see.
Oh, there it is.
Now serve with the fringe on top.
Grups and geese and we're gonna scurry when I take you out in Missouri. When I take you out in Missouri with the fringe on top.
Poor Jude is dead. Poor Jude is dead.
The name Mary Ch... Can I just say... in the music world of country and pop. It's a name written on the base of her...
That was fantastic.
I know. And it's written on the base of 5 of her Grammys. And on... Oh, shit, sorry. Where? Oh, Mary. On the second half. Mary Chapin... Can we just change her name first? Good girl. She's gonna grow up with me. Good girl. That's called crow hopping, boys, in case you didn't know that.
Move out of the shop.
She finally did what horses are really good at.
That's right.
They aren't big bags of wind after all.
Okay, I'm gonna...
That's all she wrote, folks. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. See you at the next one.